So what we got coming up next? I mean, you are we going into sports? Or what are we going to do? You know, we got the top of the hour in a minute, about 15 minutes. So like, can you get through sports? You want to do some sports?
I'm gonna try to get through this in 15 minutes. It's a lot going on.
All right, well, we gotta do it at the top of the hour. We just gotta do it.
Right. Yeah. If you jump in and I'll keep going. But sometimes when there's a lot going on, we start talking amongst ourselves with our opinions and our conversations on these topics. So we're gonna jump right into some football right now. So girl, lady, let's stop with we talk sports. So we're gonna talk some football, then we're gonna talk some basketball. Not much going on anywhere else. They're still waiting to find out what's going on with the MLB to see when Major League Baseball is going to hit the field. But right now, no new updates. But in football, we have a scandal that has kind of sort of arisen. I know, right? And I'm like, there's not even no football going on. And what's even more interesting about this topic is the fact that it's something that's coming from 2010. So 10 years ago, a lot of times, people think, oh, it's what they call that statute of limitations. Oh, it's a long time ago. If I talk about it now, it won't be a big deal. Right. So they're calling this Bountygate 2.0. So in 2010, the Steelers, the Pittsburg Steelers, and the Cleveland Browns were playing each other, and a dirty hit took place between James Harrison, who hit Mohamed Mossaquoi. Do you know him, Charles? Probably not.
I don't know that guy.
You don't know that guy? Okay, so former Pittsburgh Steelers star James Harrison said Coach Mike Tomlin at the time gave him an envelope after the devastating hit on the Cleveland Browns wide receiver. So after he came off the field, he's saying that the coach handed him an envelope. He didn't want to say what was in it. Almost, like as a, thank you, wink, wink, whatever you want to call it, for doing what he did. Yes. So he was on a podcast this week, of which, people, when they do these podcast interviews, people are asking them about, how was it playing here, playing there, different things. And when asked about Mike Tomlin, he said, quote, "The G'est thing Mike Tomlin ever did, he handed me an envelope after that." Talking about the hit. Harrison said, I'm not going to say what, but he handed me an envelope after that. So, and he said, "Listen, on everything I love, on my daddy's grave, I hit that man with about 50% of what I had. I just hit him because I wanted him to let loose of the ball. If I had known I was going to be fined $75,000, I would have tried to kill him." This is what he said, quote unquote.
Wow.
But to kind of throw, the speculation, this is allegedly, nobody knows if Mike Tomlin actually gave him an envelope. But he's saying that it happened. And so now, it's a bunch of conversations going on whether or not it took place, if it did, if it didn't. They're saying most likely this won't be investigated, but if it does, who knows what the outcome can be from here. The crazy thing is none of these people play anymore because they're retired. So
wow.
The punishment here, or what will really happen.
So I'm just curious, like, what was the purpose of him bringing that up anyway now?
Exactly.
Like, come on, man. Like this.
So that's what I mean. People.
Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yeah, because I was thinking the same thing, Charles. So this is what it just popped up. This is what's happening, and these are all the conversations and what talks have been just around the organization. And but people like drama. There's nothing else going on. I guess he was on his podcast. He can't talk football because there's no football happening right now. So they decided to bring up some old stuff, as they like to say. Why are you bringing up old stuff? But 10 years. It was a game from 2010.
Yeah,
I'm just curious.
You thirsty. That's what they call that, thirsty, man.
Yeah, that makes me curious. Like, how many other players have been handed an envelope?
Which is exactly the reason why certain things you shouldn't be talking about, because you accepted that envelope. If you wanted to talk about it, then you should have brought it up then. But now you want to talk about it because I guess you got your little podcast and you're trying to get some clicks and some streams. That's corny. Just
to be clear, Charles, this is not even his podcast. He was a guest on somebody else's podcast.
He really thirsty.
Just talking. So I don't know why this came up or why they were talking about it, but it definitely came up, and now it's an issue. So I'm going to continue to follow the story and figure out what is going on with that and how that pans out. So
please do.
I'll be posted on that. Also, the other with the Astros. Remember, we talked a lot about the Astros and that whole thing with them cheating. So they're actually having conversations about withdrawing their championship and the trophy and all that. So they're still talking about that because some people feel like they didn't really deserve it from the 2017 championship or what they won from cheating. A lot of people are saying they didn't really deserve it. And then the president had to go in and make a statement because his thing was, it's not a big deal. It's just a piece of metal. And from him saying that caused a bunch of controversy because it's the World Series. It's the World Series trophy, and he referred to it as just a piece of metal, and so a lot of people were offended by that comment. So he went on withdrew that statement, but they're still up in the air as to whether or not they're going to allow that to stand. So
yeah, he probably ain't mean it like that. He was just trying to lift the morale. It's only a metal. Don't worry about it. It's the World Series.
Right. And so, you got to be careful what you say when you're talking to the public, because you rub one person the wrong way, especially depending on who that may be, it's an uproar. So that was that. So more with football, the NCAA, which is our college. President Mark Emmett says fall closes, says no fall classes, no fall sports. That's pretty much what he's saying. He says if the regular students can't be on campus for classes, then athletes shouldn't be allowed to be on campus. Either we need to give the athletes the same type of care and safety and consideration as we're doing regular students. But, people are all, it's all crazy when it comes to sports and people want to see sports. So, but they're saying, he's like, no, he doesn't want to do that. He says you have to treat the health and wealth of the athletes same as the regular students. If a school doesn't reopen, then there's no college football. So while folks are waiting around to see what's going to happen with college ball, that's where we are right now.
Wow. Okay.
So
question real quick, Lady Estat. Mm-hmm. So the schedule that they had, are they going to go by that? Like, do they do a whole
for the NFL or for college?
College, NFL, all of it. Like it was always a schedule. So now when we resume, do they go back to the schedule or do they got to create a whole new one?
Well, that may be a question that's up in the air for baseball and for college. So college is going to depend when schools open and if they open, because we were hearing talks about schools not opening until the January semester. Mm-hmm. So fall semester, it may not be open. And that's the start of football season. Football season, they usually start training camp in like August. Something like that. So.
Well, I guess I meant a schedule of teams. Like, how you go against somebody and here's the schedule and you go.
So that's what I'm saying. So if they're not, if they're not playing, of course, that's going to throw the schedule off.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. For college, you're saying, and they're not starting yet. And if we push back, then that schedule is definitely going to be off. For the NFL, who's still targeted to be on track for starting regular season and training camp and all that, their schedule still seems to be in place. But MLB, of course, that schedule is off because they were supposed to start back March 26th. Yeah. And the NBA just got, halted, suspended in the middle of its well, kind of like towards the end of its season, right before going into postseason. So right now, what's going on with the NBA? There was that they still haven't made a decision with that. So the former basketball coach George Karl, he was did some interviews this week, and he says he's recommending you push it back a month after the August 7th draft. He says because having games on while people are on vacation and stuff like that just doesn't feel right. And you want to take into consideration, you don't want anything to happen tragically, having these guys come back, and then trying to rush through it. And then Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq responded to his response saying, quote, just scrap the season. Just scrap it. To try to come back now and do a rush playoff as a player, any team that wins this year, there's an asterisk. They're not going to get the respect. So scrap it. Worry about safety and fans. Worry about the safety of the fans and the people, and just come back next year. And when he made that statement, and you kind of think about it, I said, well, that could be kind of true, because just like anything else, I mean, they do it in regular season. If a star gets hurt, oh, they didn't win as many games because they didn't have this person. Oh, the team only won because the other team had this person out. And so one thing off, the winner usually doesn't get its full just due, because they're going to say they only won because of whatever reason. So, you know what I mean? So I do kind of hear, and him being a player, he knows what it takes to play the game and train for the game and be in shape for the game and all those things. So to try and rush to come back, finish out a season, jump into playoffs. I mean, of course, it's going to feel rushed for us as viewers. So I'm sure it's going to feel rushed for them.
Yeah, so, I think that's, it's definitely an excellent point. And real quick before we go any further, you're listening to WPPM-LP Philadelphia 106.5 FM, and this is We Talk Weeklies After the Talk with your boy Charles Gregory and a beautiful
Lauren Sizzle.
And a beautiful
Classy Lady Sparkle.
We got a lady that started in the building doing her sports, and she going to finish right now. So give it to me early.
Yeah, so that was just, I was just saying, I kind of agree with Shaq on that. He has a point. And I mean, when it comes to these type of things, if you're not listening to people who actually play the game and are actually there, then, who are you listening to? A lot of times you have these, the administrative people that push the paper behind the scenes, making all the decisions, which is while that's all good and all, I think they definitely should heed to the advice of the players who are actually doing the work. More NFL, we had, what was there? I didn't tell you guys about this. So the Cowboys, America's favorite team, Dak Prescott still doesn't have a home. Dallas signed another Pro Bowl quarterback while they're still in negotiations with Dak Prescott, who apparently wants a lot more money that they are willing to pay. So he's still sitting out right now. I think technically he's still a Cowboy, but they're not sure. So they're trying to wait to see what's going to happen with him. But I wanted to touch on some of the other things in that the players, coaches and players, not just football or basketball, but in sports as a whole are doing. So Tom Brady joined a list of sports stars who joined a letter seeking a federal investigation into the tragic shooting death of Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia. So I was really happy to hear this. So among that list, those who signed that list were and the letter went to Attorney General William Barr, our Warriors coach Steve Kerr, the Players Coalition founder Malcolm Jenkins, LeBron James is on that list, Stan Van Gundy, a current NBA analyst and former head coach of the Pistons, wide receiver Aquan Baldwin, and Executive Vice President of NFL, Troy Vincent. And I wanted to announce that some of the names on that list, even though the list is much longer, because I just want everybody to know and be aware that this is not a list of African-American people, but a list of conscious people. That's so right. I was very happy to know that it was, so many of other races outside of just African-American, with this being an African-American, I'm going to say murder by a white man that so many others see it the same way we see it. So I was happy about that, and they're actually moving diligently on this investigation, and like so many of them have signed off on it. And I thought that was awesome.
That is awesome.
Mm-hmm. What else did not we cover yet?
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, that was.
You know what? Real quick, I gotta say, I just have to say, like, I like the idea of being conscious, because you being conscious don't necessarily have to deal with race, but I would like to acknowledge all of my white brethren. That's typically those who are considered the racists, right? But for them to utilize their privilege and say, yo, this is wrong. It's something wrong here. And although I look like something different, I believe what's right. And I want to use my platform. I want to use my privilege to say that this is wrong and we need to do something about it. And so shout out to them. So I just had to jump into that.
So
I think for years that stuff, not to cut you off, Stacey, but that stuff has been going on, but it's social media that's bringing it to the light, and like just allowing our white brethren to see it for themselves, and had it not been for that video.
Absolutely. And whenever they do tell us about people who are taking a stand, they always want to make sure they announce the African American community, the LeBron Jameses and the Kevin Durant's. They want to throw all those names out there, but I feel like it's important for our community to know that we do have the support of others as well.
Definitely.
Exactly.
So my last topic is The Last Dance, of course. Are you guys still watching? Are you guys still watching is my question. So last week we had episodes 7 and 8 air. And I just want to say, when watching this, with everybody talking about, Michael Jordan and his attitude and his approach to the game and his approach to his teammates, I don't know. Everybody has their own outlook. I personally don't feel like I don't look at him different. I know some people go, oh, do you look at him different now? And he even made that comment, but I actually do not. But watching him last week, and one of the segments that ended, he was very emotional, talking about how he presented himself to the game and how he presented himself to how he did certain things. And I feel like unapologetically, he was very emotional about his true feelings to the game. And so what he said was, in terms of, this was after they talked about how he worked with other people and other people coming in and being hard on certain guys, especially new guys coming in who didn't really know how it was, never been to the playoffs and things like that. He said, when people see this, they're going to say, he really wasn't a nice guy. He may have been a tyrant. Well, that's because you've never won anything. I wanted to win, but I wanted them to win and be a part of it as well, referring to his teammates. Like, I don't have to do this. I'm only doing it because it's who I am. That's how I play the game. That was my mentality. If you don't want to play that way, don't play that way. And then he asked for a break as he teared up making that statement. And watching this, is obvious that these are his feelings. He worked hard and endured a lot to be the champion that he was. And so when new guys were coming in, he had a certain way of how he approached them, because he wanted them to be tough. He wanted them to work hard. I guess he felt like, if I'm working hard, why isn't other people working hard? And one of the things to try to get them to understand is the playoffs is a different beast, and you constantly hear players talking about that. And so he said he would mess with them on purpose and heckle them and talk trash to them, because he needed them to know that that's how it was in the playoffs. So he would do it to them in practice. so much that he ended up literally getting into a fist fight with Steve Kerr, who was his teammate at the time, who is actually the head coach of the Golden State Warriors now. But then they talked about how he said he knew he was, being a real jerk about it. And he asked us for his phone number and called him up later to apologize. But Steve Kerr said that actually made them so much closer. And Michael Jordan, gained his respect. But I know the trash talk thing is a big thing. And a lot of times as viewers, you're watching a game and you see a fight break out and you're like, well, what happened? You're looking at it from the standpoint of the play because you can't hear the conversations that are happening on the court. So you're like, oh, well, he didn't hit him that hard or he didn't push him and this, that, and the other because you don't know what the commentators are saying. But the conversations that happen and the stuff that they're saying I think is what revs them up even more to take a swing on another player and things like that. I mean, for example, we all remember when Carmelo Anthony and the Kevin Garnett thing happened.
Yeah.
Kevin Garnett told his man his wife tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios. I mean, you can't talk about a man's family. You know what I mean? But that really, that got up under Carmelo's skin so much that he was like outside his locker room waiting for him. And then he was outside the bus. He stood outside on the bus waiting for that man to come out. Like, it didn't just end on the court. So trash talk is a big thing. And he's like, they get inside your head. They try to, manipulate you and try to, take you off of your game. And he's like, I need y'all to be stronger than that. So he talked about how he would do that to them purposely in practice. But it was part of him wanting to win and trying to win. But moving on from that, one of the issues last week before, we were focused on Isaiah Thomas. This week, it's been all about Scottie Pippen. They focus so much on Scottie Pippen. And now it's talked about, Scottie Pippen is starting to look bad. And people are saying this because the three things that came up, or him kind of feeling like he's kind of like flaking on them. So for starters, he had like this migraine headache and he was like, I can't finish. So he's like, I got a headache. He needed to leave the game. Then because he felt like he wasn't being paid, the way he should have been paid, he decided to not get surgery that he needed to get done over the summer. I was like, I'm not going to F up my summer. Like, damn them, I'll do it later. And ultimately end up waiting on purpose, which made him miss 35 games out of a season, delay his arrival, and they were talking about never being seen in the Bulls uniform again. And then this week, they talk about how in 1994, Game 3, he refused to check into a game, all because Phil drew up a play that didn't allow him to be taking the final shot. And that was also the year where Michael Jordan wasn't there, and he had left to go play baseball after his father passed. So, he felt like he was the star. He was the, of the team. He should have been doing all of this stuff. But he wasn't really a shooter. And Tony Kukoc is actually the one that Phil wanted to take the shot. And so he did. And so because of that, he got in the game.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not going in. So, Phil Jackson said that was hard on them and the team because that was the first time they ever had anybody stop playing. Like, he just quit. Like, I'm not going back in. All because the play wasn't going the way he wanted. So, and he actually said in the interview, if he had to do it again,
he would have done the same thing.
Now, all the decisions he's made, he's like,
but that's who I look at differently. I don't look at Jordan differently. I actually embrace Jordan. I look at Scottie Pippen differently after watching this now.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he was like a little,
I was going to say that. When you hear about people calling people whine, he's a baby, he always whining. When you hear stuff like that, this is probably why people would say some of this type of stuff about
Jordan reminded me of how my brother did me. My brother busted on me. My brother picked with me. But when I got in school, what people said to me, it didn't affect me because I already got initiated from the best to do it was my big brother. So when you busting on my forehead or whatever, it don't hurt me because the best one did it. So I feel like Jordan was like that, but I think he got sad because it's almost like a parent being the best parent they can. I'm not your friend. Like, you look at your parents when you get older to say, thank you for doing what you've done for me. But they're hurting because now you're talking bad about them and all of the sacrifices that they did. I think that's the part that he got emotional on because he's like, yo, I'm the one who carried y'all. I'm the one, and he did. He really did. So I love Jordan. I think the whole Last Dance made me just adore him more in his whole militant approach. But Scottie Pippen, I look at you differently.
Yeah, I felt like, I felt like
that face, Charles.
Go ahead, Sizzle. I'll talk after Sizzle. I want to hear what she got to say.
I just was gonna say I felt like he thought that was his moment and his opportunity. Jordan wasn't there, that he could, just take this clutch shot and, he would have that on his record that he won, the game. So he missed out on his opportunity. He was like, oh. And then he said that I would do it all over again. Like,
yeah, that was a little petty, man. That's a little petty. But what I will say about Pippen is, I think Pippen was just over it. I think he got the bad end of the deal from day one, actually. And even with his salary, I think that, they didn't look at Pippen as a major player. And to be quite honest, and this may be pretty big to say, but I don't think the Bulls and Jordan wouldn't be who he is without Pippen. You will always remember the duo, Pippen and Jordan, right? You will on LA, you will always remember Shaq and Kobe, right? You always remember the duos because you need somebody to assist and layup. I mean, it's always like that, and I think that Pippen just was over it, and I don't think that he get the credit that he deserves. And even I mean, the Chicago Bulls had a dynamic team, so it's hard to just even highlight Pippen. But Jordan wouldn't be Jordan without Pippen. He wouldn't. I don't think they would have won that many games. I mean, Pippen was truly an assist master, and he worked hard. His D was, he was known for his D. He wasn't a shooter. He wasn't known for shooting and scoring. He was known for rebound and assists. That's what he was known for. And so I think that he doesn't get his credits as it relates to him being a prominent figure on the Bulls. And I think he felt that way. And so because he felt that way, he started acting like a little, he started acting funny. Yeah. He's Shady Grady, right?
That's exactly what he said. He started acting out. But it did stem from the money, Charles. You're absolutely right. So when he first went in, they didn't think he was going to be the kind of player that he was going to end up. So the contract that he ultimately signed, he signed a long-term contract. He said at the time, coming from nothing, they talked about this in the first couple of episodes that, he was just thinking about his family and making sure he had money, being able to take care of his family, and then he had money. So he went ahead and signed that contract where, he wanted to make sure it was something solid. There was no option for renegotiations or anything like that. So once he became who he became and, and was definitely a bigger asset to this team, when he wanted to go into renegotiate a contract that he was told from day one, no renegotiations, he was pissed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because by then he had been playing, he signed a long-term contract. And by the time he was halfway through that contract, times had started to change. Players was making more money. So people coming in after him who was probably making more than him, but he was stuck, like grandfathered into this old contract that he couldn't change. And they said the owner at the time, he was that type of dude that was like, we don't renegotiate. This is your contract. That's it. We talk about it at the end of it.
Yeah, the owner was an a-hole, man.
Yeah.
I didn't have an opportunity to see. I seen a couple episodes of this show. I didn't get a chance to see the last three. I guess 6, 7, and 8, or 7, 8, and 9. It's not
9 and 10 airs this week coming up.
Okay, so I didn't see 6, 7, and 8 yet.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure that I go and watch that. But yeah, man, it's
because the very first episode they started with that's how it became the title, The Last Dance. He called Phil Jackson in his office and told Phil Jackson, I don't care if you win all 72 games this year. This is your last year. You're out.
Yeah, that was that.
Yeah. This man is winning and you fire him for what? But it was more so, I think, because he wanted, Phil Jackson and Jordan and all this. That's like the face of the team. So of course with the face, those are the ones getting all the glory. It's like a movie. You know, nobody wants to talk to the writer or producer. They want to talk to the main character who played the main role. You know, that cast member. So, but he wasn't getting the accolades. They were going another. So I don't know. It sounds like it could have been a bunch of other stuff. You know, that politics stuff, but it was a lot of. I feel like it was a lot of bad decisions that just ultimately broke up the dynasty. But it stemmed from the owner. You're right, Charles. But yeah, Pippen, because he wasn't getting that money, he definitely did act out. The other thing, go ahead.
I was gonna say he might have been bitter.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I'm in MJ shadow, you know, and I'm not making that much money, and I'm coming through. He's sitting out, and then you do this to me.
And when MJ left to go play baseball, he was then like the star. He was then like the star. But they said that was also Phil Jackson's best coaching year because he didn't have, you know, star players giving him pushback on how to do things. And that's when he ran the triangle and seen the most effectiveness from running that triangle from game to game to game. And they said Pippen was doing his thing with it, and he made it ultimately great. But when it was game 3 of a playoff series. You see what I'm saying? Game 3 of a playoff series. So it wasn't just like a regular season game. You're in a playoff series. It's game 3. Y'all, you know, it's like 2 points left. Like, if you want somebody to take the game and shot, you want to give it to a shooter, and Pippen wasn't a shooter. And they said, Phil actually said the play that he had drawn up, it was one that they had did many times before where Tony Kukoc always hit the shot. So he was like, let's just try it. And of course, he hit it and they won. But even with them winning, they just talked about how the energy and the emotions were running really high in the locker room after that because, you know, they felt like Pippen just quit on them because he wouldn't go back in.
Yeah, and at that point, he was the star kind of.
So you have the stars quit on you in the playoff game.
Yeah. Which goes to the point when if you try to compare what somebody that's considered great, Jordan would have never did that.
Oh,
Jordan would have played. Jordan would have played with a broken leg.
None of them would have did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that right there separates the man from the boys. You want to be a star, but then you acting like Charles said, a little, you know. So you gotta man up. But then he said, you know, he had to do it again. But we did get to see some laughter from Jordan, you know, after it started off with him being really emotional. He kind of really just laughed real hard, cracking up at Gary Payton, because Gary Payton talked about, when Jordan came back after he quit playing baseball and came back into the game. Oh, you just got to do this, that, and the other and wear him out. He was like, I had him, this, that, and the other. So they let Jordan watch his, him talk about that, and Jordan just fell out laughing. He's like, it ain't nothing to do with him. It's that first game back, and the game fell on Father's Day. And it was actually the first game he had ever played without his dad. And it was on Father's Day, so he was just really emotional. And they went into a lot about, you know, his dad's murder, which I had totally forgotten about the fact that his dad had gone missing. It wasn't like he had just been murdered. He was missing for a few days, and I forgot about that part until they talked about it. Yeah. And, so that had to be real hard for him because his dad had been at every single game since this boy was in like high school, and traveled with him and everything, almost like a manager. And then he's gone, and you play your first game after, and it's on Father's Day. So yeah, that had to have been kind of hard for him. But then they talked a lot about how he had to deal with not just the death of his father, but then the media blaming him for the death of his father. Yeah. It was a gambling debt going, for a gambling debt or some type of deal going bad. So it was just a lot around that. So it's been, we got 2 episodes left this week. So one little basketball, need something to watch in quarantine. I'm still telling people to tune in. 2 episodes left.
They need to pay you for
review.
They ain't paying us, man. We giving them too much credit for that. It was good though. What we'll do is I think I'm gonna start at 1, episode 1 and watch all the way up into, I guess we're at 8 now, right?
Yes.
All right, so I'll watch it to 8. So is that We Talk Sports?
That is We Talk Sports.
guys, it's your girl Lauren Sizzle and Classy Lady Sparkle. And have you subscribed to our channel yet?
If the answer is no, you need to subscribe now.
Yeah, so stop what you're doing. Go right now and subscribe. We like you. You like us. So go ahead and subscribe.
Come on over. Be a part of the family of We Talk Weekly and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
So what are you waiting for? Subscribe
now.